Alright, what's going on, guys? It is your boy Tickety once you're back in here on PlayStation Source, and we do have a couple topics here that I want to just get out there on the channel and get you guys' feedback on and opinions on, involving, of course, PlayStation 5, as we have a lot of different moving parts right now with PS5 in terms of the tech reveal event, just different things that have come out from that reveal event. So without further ado, let's go into some more PlayStation 5 talk. So first of here, of course, one of the big focal points that they really did focus on last week during the tech reveal event was the SSD inside the PS5. And they talked a lot about how they have a proprietary SSD right now in the PS5 that has speeds that are not currently on the market, or they have some that are very close to that speed. So they talked a lot about that and talked a lot about how, the SSD could fundamentally change how games are developed and stuff like that. And so what really came up to surface this week, which added like a lot more context, was that if you guys recall a few months back, I think it was around like September or October of 2019, there was a behind closed doors, kind of presentation about PS5 that was being presented, and it was that famous one where we got a look at, Spider-Man PS4 running on PS5 and how much faster, Peter could swing through the environment because, we got a lot of really cool insight actually on the game about how, like, the reason why Spider-Man moves at that speed, at that top speed in Spider-Man PS4 is not because it's really by choice. It's really because that's all that the PS4 hard drive can handle loading at one given time, and like with that speed and stuff like that. So if you can imagine like how long it takes, or like the speed of how Spider-Man is swinging in the game, that's about as fast as the hard drive can load the environment into the game as you're moving through it, right? But then they showed off that the SSD, you can move a lot faster in the game running on the PS5 because it's on the SSD, and it could load more assets more quickly and stuff like that. And so they went into that, as well as, of course, how we went into with the tech reveal that, of course, just long story short, we have talked about this a ton on the channel, but with the traditional hard drive, most games this generation, and pretty much all other generations as well, like in the past and stuff like that, it's a popular technique where they have multiple copies of the same asset on multiple places on the hard drive. That way the game can quickly find a file that matches that asset to be able to load it quicker. It's not looking for just one, it's looking for any one that matches that file, right? So what we have here is that old presentation that we were talking about, one of them was from GDC, I believe. They said that with this technique of running Spider-Man PS4 on a PS5 and having the game kind of formatted to an SSD rather than the hard drive, they were able to eliminate all of the extra copies of the assets that they had in the game, and they actually took off around 10 gigabytes of Spider-Man PS4 running on PS5. So the main story here, the main takeaway is that not only will games be able to run quicker and it could fundamentally change how games are designed, it could also result in a shrinking amount of gigabytes that each game will take up, and we could see a decrease in games overall in terms of gigabytes, right? Maybe that won't happen, right? Like maybe they will use that extra space to bolster the game and make it more better, more feature sets and stuff like that, more environments, all the good stuff. But we could see similar games running from PS4 get a little bit of a trim going into PS5 when they're a bit enhanced for PlayStation 5 and the SSD, as they don't have to have multiple copies of the same asset. So one of the biggest things about that, because I know we live in the era right now where Warzone, the standalone free-to-play Warzone that just came out about 2 weeks ago, I think, or 3 weeks ago, is like 100 gigs by itself on PlayStation Store. Like, it is insane. Like I think Black Ops 4 at the end of its life cycle with all the DLC was like something like 150 gigs. Red Dead is insanely big as well. We're just used to these really big games, and it looks like it could be ending here pretty soon with the SSD and with PlayStation 5. So let me know what you think in the comments below. How you guys feel about this? Do you think that we will actually see a decrease? Does it make it better now that the SSD that we hear right now is 825 gigabytes of storage? So now does it make it feel a little bit better for you because the games might be less than gigabytes? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Next up here, we do have another insight here from the homie Jason Schreier, of course, fame of Kotaku, and he was talking a little bit more about PS5, and of course, we haven't really heard a lot about the PlayStation 5's operating system yet, and the UI, the main menu, as of course, at least for me personally, one of the best things about having like new hardware is, of course, having that new software along with it, and seeing how like, the menu and the UI that we'll be using for multiple years is going to shape up on day one and stuff like that. So obviously, UI does update over time and everything with the PS4. It's got plenty of different menu UI updates and stuff like that, but it's pretty much stayed pretty much the same. Like it's not like on Microsoft where the Xbox dashboard I feel like always changes like pretty much every month. I feel like, I mean, it just looks like it. Like I couldn't even tell you what the dashboard looks like right now, but I know that dashboard rotates a lot. But they were talking, so Jason Schreier wanted to point out a specific pitch that Sony gave to developers on having the PS5 menu be something like where it could load games, and the PS5 can treat games as easy as Netflix, is what the direct quote has said here. So we're going to go into some more quotes. It says, quote, "I've heard some fascinating things about the PS5's operating system like this. One of the pitches they've been making to developers is, quote, playing a PS5 game should be as easy as Netflix. They want to make players feel like they can load up the game immediately and know exactly how much time a given activity is going to take them." And so going on talking a little bit more about what could be the PS5's UI systems and features, we actually had a patent that was published last week of this article going up, which this article was published on Monday, so that was the 23rd of March, and we had a patent come up that really was discussing a lot about the interactive interfaces, and it has a lot of ties with a Mark Cerny Wired.com article that we've talked about a lot on the channel, but I will link down the article down below in the description if you want to follow up on it more closely in that manner. And so there was a little bit of explanation to this patent that I want to kind of just bring to you all and kind of read this quote here. So it says here, quote, "We don't want the player to have to boot the game, see what's up, boot the game, and then see what's up. Multiplayer game servers will provide the consoles with set of joinable activities in real time. Single player games will provide information like what missions you could do and what rewards you might receive for completing them. And all of those choices will be visible in the UI. As a player, you just jump right into whatever you like." And so this is what is like the latest, patent involving this. And a lot of people are assuming that this is what they're going to be, using with the PS5 because of the Wired.com stuff that we got last week. Not last week, excuse me, like a few months ago, as well as the tech reveal, that we got recently last week as well. And so there's been a lot of, similarities with these patents and what, they're saying here. And I think it sounds really cool. Like there's like a lot of times where we get patents that really do come off as like gimmicky, but this really doesn't come off as a gimmick. Like to me, it sounds really enticing. Like it sounds really cool to see like new challenges for like, Black Ops 5 or whatever, that's coming out this year and stuff like that, and to be able to like kind of see what is new in a game without going into the game is very, very cool to me. And I really like that whole that like whole prospect of that if they actually do that. And we did get a really, really cool fan made type of like representation of what it could look like. So over here they have this like just fake, obviously this is not real, right? But like this is kind of like what they went off of, and the person that made this is Right Weepy Fanworm, so shout out to him. Again, link below in the description, the push square where they posted about this, and they wanted it to kind of fall in line with that easy, like they want PS5 owners to play a game to be as easy as loading up Netflix and stuff like that. So this is what they kind of took it off to, and you can see like game time on there. You can see like different missions that the player has gone through. You can of course start the game and stuff like that, and it looks like a just more refined version of the PS4 menu, which is not a bad thing because I think the PS4 menu is great. I have no complaints with the PS4 UI really at all, honestly. Like it can only get better from here. Like I have no direct thing that I want them to improve and stuff like that. But this looks great. You know, like this looks really, really cool. You can see the trophy progress as well in the bottom right hand corner and stuff like that. It looks very, very sleek. It just looks like a more refined version of the PS4 UI, and that's why I'm really on board with this one. Like it looks new, but it looks familiar. It's like more familiar, you know, so that you can use it from day one and not have any issues with it, you know, presumably. But let me know what you guys think about the PlayStation 5 UI. What features do you want in there that are not in the PS4 menu UI? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And make sure also while you are down there to check out the description where you can find our Twitter, our Discord, as well as our Anchor link to new long-form content in podcast format. That, of course, being Road to Part 2, Road to 587 Remake, as well as Save Slot Podcast. All those links down below in the description. If you like the video, make sure to leave a like on that, as well as hit subscribe to the PlayStation source to keep up with the latest and greatest in PlayStation. Thank you for watching, and as always, greatness awaits.